Let's do some UVA football news and notes. Chris Graham, Augusta Free Press. We'll start with Antonio Clary. He had last played in a game in what turned into be the 2022 season finale at 37-7 loss to Pitt on November 12th, 2022. That was just a day before the mass shooting that, killed three UVA football players, Devin Chandler, Lavel Davis, and Deshaun Perry, and also seriously injured, Mike Hollins, and then another UVA student as well. Um, Clary then missed the whole 2023 season with a lingering ankle injury. He decided to return for a sixth season after last season, to try to finish his college career out actually on the field. And he had 8 tackles in the game. His first game back, team leading tying. I'm trying to figure that out with Jonas Senka for team honors. And boy, he looked good out there. I mean, we know Senka is going to be a key guy on this defense for UVA. He was the only All ACC player in the preseason for the Cavs. But if Antonio Clary is going to be healthy and play the way he did on Saturday, that's going to be a huge boost for that UVA secondary. Uh, Coach Tony Elliott talked about that, quote, he brings the toughness. He's a highly intelligent football player. He can get his teammates lined up. He communicates well. And when he comes downhill, he's trying to run through you. And then he gives us some great value on special teams. So overall, leadership, physicality, toughness, and experience is what he gives us. Really, really going to be valuable to this team against assuming he stays healthy. Solid special teams play. We had a joke, not joke. We had a bet. It was a jokey bet. In the press box, Scott German was sitting to one side of me, Jerry Ratcliffe sitting to the other side of me, about when the major special teams blunder would happen. And I actually won the bet, and I explicitly said when I said there will not be a major special teams blunder, and I said I'm stupid for saying this. It's going to happen, but I'm going to be different. Scott had second quarter, Jerry had third quarter. It's because Virginia lost 3 games last year by one score, in which the special teams gave up that score. The JMU lost 36-35 in the home opener in 2023. JMU blocked a punt, returned it for a touchdown. 31-24 loss at Louisville after Halloween, in a game that, I mean, that was a nationally televised game on a Thursday night. Virginia led a good part of that game. But Louisville blocked a bunt, returned it for a touchdown. And then the loss to an NC State team that won 9 games last year, 27-24 in Scott Stadium, again on national TV. That was on a Friday night. And NC State game was tied 24-24, final play of regulation, missed the field goal. UVA's special teams had a penalty on the field goal try. They gave State another chance. They made the field goal, won the game. So I mean, it's so me picking no errors was the stupid pick, and it just turned out to be right. Now there was a missed chip shot field goal at the end of the first half, but it wasn't a blocked punt. It wasn't a kickoff return for a touchdown. It wasn't anything like that. Um, and so Elliott said he was pleased with the improvements from the special team standpoint, and we've got to continue to improve there after the game. He thought we protected the punter well, thought that Daniel Sparks hit the ball pretty good. Sparks averaged 54.5 yards on his 2 punts, and neither was returned. So those are obviously great numbers. Sparks was also, for the first time in his career, he was the kickoff specialist. Um, he had 5 touchbacks on his 7 kickoffs, averaging 69.3 yards per kick, and the average starting field position was a 25.1 yard line. So that's pretty much, that's the 5 kickoffs there being touchbacks. That's where you start as a 25-yard line. So, and that's solid. In the return game, Xavier Brown, 29.0 yards on 2 kick returns, and yeah, 37-yard return coming out of that 2-hour weather delay after Richmond had scored a touchdown going into the weather delay that made the score 20-7. He has Brown, who's also a backup running back. That 37-yard return set up Virginia near midfield, and a quick 4-play, 54-yard drive ensued that put the game out of reach. So that was a very big play by the Virginia special teams. Actually, a positive big play by the Virginia special teams. And Will Bettridge he missed that 36-yard kick as the first half was expiring. He really shanked it pretty bad, but he was 2 for 3 otherwise, good from 21 and 33. So So good job by special teams. D line, no sacks, but they largely did their job. The Richmond offensive game plan was built around getting rid of the ball fast. Of Kyle Wickersham's 19 pass attempts, 14 were inside of 9 yards from the line of scrimmage, either screen passes or really short passes, quick drop passes. Um, and that's a key reason why Virginia didn't record a sack. But the D line was still able to get pressure on Wickersham on seven of his pass dropbacks, and that's with only five of them being at all downfield. In fact, only one was 20 yards plus through the air. Um, and Wickersham had mid numbers, uh, 13 of 22, 110 yards, so 5 yards per pass attempt. So good job of tackling behind those short passes, not allowing a lot of yards after catch. The front also did a pretty good job keeping Richmond in check on the ground. Richmond had 147 yards, but 54 of those came in garbage time in the fourth quarter with liberal substitutions there. So good job by the defense. And Elliott noted that I wanted them to have a couple of sacks. But that quarterback is big and strong, and they weren't going to hold it long. They were trying to get the ball out. They were going to sit back and let you go after him. They weren't going to sit back and let you go after him. Um, so that's the assessment from Elliott there. Now here's the one negative I kind of found in the game. Um, what was up with Chris Tyree? Tyree is the guy, the highly touted grad transfer from Notre Dame, who was projected, still is projected, let's say, because it's one game in the season, to be a guy who will help replace that lost production from Malik Washington, a draft pick of the Miami Dolphins, had 110 catches last year out of the slot. Tyree was lining up in the slot, and he had three targets, didn't catch a ball, two targets on screens, and one not far downfield. It was within 9 yards. Dropped them all, so no catches on three targets. And that was a lot of what Virginia did with Washington last year. Put the ball in his hands and just let him make plays. The ball in his hands, on short passes out of the slot, and then let him make plays. Tyree was on the field for 25 snaps, 14 pass snaps, 12 of those in the slot. Washington averaged 33.9 slot snaps last year per game. When I added it up, the guys that Des Kitchings, the offensive coordinator at UVA, used in the slot added up to 33, actually 33 slot snaps. But with the lack of success of Tyree, Kitchings was trying a lot of folks. He tried Tyler Neville, Dakota Twitty, and Sackett Wood, who were all at tight end. And Twitty came in as a four-star wide receiver, but he's grown. He's 6'4", 240, so that's definitely tight end size, pass catching tight end size. And then also Tyree and then sophomore Sudarian Harrison. That group combined for 5 catches on 9 targets for 42 yards. That's the one area. I mean, Anthony Calandria had a solid game, just under 300 yards passing. But the one area that Virginia will need to improve on is slot receiver, certainly. Final note from our notebook here: the O-line grades out pretty well, and we'll have our report card tomorrow, Tuesday. I'm recording this on Monday. With full grades and such from Pro Football Focus. I'm not grading them. I'm not that much of an expert to grade anybody, much less the intricacies of offensive linemen. But from what I snuck a peek at today, good grades for everybody all around. And the O line, I mean, they allowed the 2 sacks were recorded on Anthony Calandria, but they were actually assessed to him when you looked at the grades because the one was he dropped back and basically ran into his own offensive lineman and fell back, so he got sacked. And the other, he was trying to extend a play that was supposed to be a quick release pass, and he ran around in circles for a while, lost 20 yards, turned a first and goal to 7 to a second and goal to 27. And so those counted against him. Nobody on the offensive line got docked points for those 2 sacks. And the offensive line also cleared the way for 229 sack adjusted rushing yards. And I note that was that's an important thing because Calandria was running around in circles, losing yards behind him a couple times. So of course he did a great job running the ball and design runs and a couple of scrambles that got first down. So don't want to be too harsh on him, but. Tony Elliott's assessment, I thought we were able to establish a line of scrimmage from a run game standpoint. I thought the protection was pretty solid. Great start for those guys. And this, to me, the stat of the night. The line limited Richmond to a grand total of 3 QB pressures on the night. And so good job by the offensive line. Hey, if you got any questions for me, any comments for me, anything for me to look into, please email me at chris@augustafreepress.com.